Hello, dear perceptive souls. This is Bevan Neiman, and I'm a life purpose coach, intuitive business development coach, and mentor for empaths and light workers and conscious leaders. And welcome to your collective energy reading. These readings, of course, take place on a specific day, but whenever you come across it, they're really universal archetypes. So if it resonates with you at that time, then let it be your message. And I go into a deep meditative state. Sometimes I pull cards with other people. And I always, what comes through is this particular phrase or particular energy that I'm sensing and seeing out in the collective right now. And so I thank you for joining me to discuss a really important topic, which is how to identify if you are caught up in the drama triangle and how to get off of that, or how to just step back as a more compassionate observer and not get so into that drama. And the thing is that human beings, our human beingness, our part of ourselves that likes to engage in the earthly plane really likes drama. We kind of get into it. I mean, there's a reason that soap operas and a certain TV series, like where people are arguing and fighting and somebody's cheating on someone and someone's doing this and someone's doing that. And we're just like tuned in. We're like what's going to happen next? Someone's opening the door in the dark and, you know that there's something behind it and you can't pull yourself away. And it reminds me of this Don Henley song, Dirty Laundry. Like, we love dirty laundry, right? And so the drama triangle is a part of our innate, I'm going to say it's like our innate lower chakra system. And we're going to talk about the 3 different roles that we can play. I have played all of the roles over and over and over multiple times, sometimes in just a few minutes with another person during a disagreement, sometimes for years in relationships. And it really takes a lot of conscious awareness to understand, to look out there into the world or look into your own family situations or your own relationships and go, this is what's coming up right now. And I'm going to step back for a minute and make a conscious choice about what's happening. So first of all, I printed off this diagram to make sure you can see it of the drama triangle, right? And so if we start down here with the victim energy is, it really happens, right? There really are people, and maybe almost everyone who's watching this has at one time or another been a victim of other people's poor choices or bad behavior or of the economy or whatever it is. So a disaster like a tornado or a tsunami, like there are people in our world who are victims of things that happen, victims of abuse. And so when we talk about this victim archetype, we're not in any way minimizing what's actually happened to someone, that there was trauma that occurred during that situation. And there was a process and maybe a continued process and maybe even post-traumatic stress disorder, to try to release what happened to someone, right? Having said all of that, we can also embody that victimhood on an ongoing basis. And some of that victimhood, when it's not directly related to a specific kind of trauma, or even if it is, even if it's trauma that happened a long time ago, and we're not diving into it and we're not working on actively healing that, we're not working on changing our perspective, we're not working on moving from this place where we feel powerless, hopeless, and stuck, and into empowering ourselves and realizing that we can make different choices. And so this victim energy is kind of like, oh, poor me. There's nothing I can do. I'm just at the mercy of the system. Can you believe everything that's happening? And a lot of times when we get into that victim energy, and I've been here multiple times in my life, and I still go there sometimes, is we start to feel depressed and we feel apathy and we just feel like I can't even get up. I can't even make myself do anything. I can't, and this is how we realize, because we're in this really drained state of being. We're in this really like, I don't give a shit kind of state of being, right? In that victim energy. And it really holds us in this powerless place when we're here, right? And so then the other, there's this other one called the persecutor, right? And the persecutor is the one who's blaming. So often the victim is doing sort of the inner critic, like it's all my fault, or I don't know what to do, or why does this happen to me? And it's all like inward pointing, fault giving. And the persecutor is outward blaming, right? It's the government, it's the president of the United States, it's this, it's that, it's the system, it's our economy, it's the choices we've made, it's there's someone to blame, right? And when we feel powerless, when we feel in this victim mode, moving up this scale into the persecutor actually feels more powerful temporarily, right? We actually go, wait, I can get angry, I can do something about this, I can find a reason why this is happening. And often we try to get into this place of control, or we try to control other people, we try to control the outcome, even when things are out of control. So as a victim, we feel like, man, everything's out of control and I can't do anything. As a persecutor, it's like, I'm going to try to take control. And I've totally been in that place in relationships, in job situations, and with my health, with all kinds of things. Like I've tried to, and this is when we try to take power over others, or we're really pissed off that someone's trying to take power over us, right? And so that's the persecutor. And then the third aspect of this triangle that we can engage in is called the rescuer, which looks at the victim being victimized by the persecutor and says, wait a minute, I'm going to save you. I'm going to rescue you. No, you have power. You have potential. I'm going to help you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take your pain away. And yet that sounds great. It sounds like being in service, right? It sounds like altruism. It sounds like volunteerism. However, the rescuer is doing it because they get something out of it as well. They get a sense of personal worth, a sense of personal value, and personal power. Sometimes we're a victim and then we become a rescue of others so that we don't really have to deal with our own stuff. Like we're like, okay, I have no control. I feel like everything's happening to me personally. So I'm going to go over here and try to rescue other people instead of taking care of my own stuff, instead of going to therapy or getting coaching or doing meditation or whatever that is, healing work. I'm going to over here and I'm going to tell people like, man, I read this really great book. You should read it. Absolutely, you should read it. And the thing about the rescuer is that they're really attached to whether the victim takes their particular advice. And when they don't, they get really upset. Sometimes they then move over to being the persecutor. Like, y'all, you're just not listening. You don't want to do anything. I can't believe I'm helping you and I'm doing all these things, right? And it goes around and around and around. And what happens is that the victim ends up getting upset about the rescuer. At first, like they want that, they get attention, someone's, acknowledging their pain and their suffering. And then the rescuer wants them to do it their way, and the rescuer wants them to get a certain outcome and a certain action, and then they get resentful. They're like, wait a minute, like I'm gonna dig in and I'm not gonna do what you want me to do. I'm not gonna go to therapy, and I'm not gonna go to a 12-step program, and and it goes around and around and around. So let's talk about how we see this out in the collective, since this is a collective energy reading. We see out on social media right now all of the finger pointing going on, right? We see some people being victims. They're like, damn, there's nothing I can do. I feel completely exhausted. I can't even get up right now. I just need to sleep. And what I'll say about that is when we get into that place, it's okay to be still and take care of yourself. And I've gone through these cycles where I've been really on and I've been able to do these readings and do coaching sessions and like be in my community and be a leader and do these things. And I've been like entire days where I cry and I lay on the couch and I'm just like, I'm done, and it's okay. It's okay to be in that place. we've never been through this before. Hopefully we'll never go through this again as a society. And it's challenging right now. So we're not trying to be perfect. We're not trying to be strong. If you have feelings, if you have emotions about things, if stuff is coming up for you, allow yourself to feel, and realize that you do actually have power, but you don't have to do anything right now. You can just wait until you feel like you're ready. And then we see persecution. It's out there. There's conspiracy theories about 5G, and there's this and that, and it's all, the cabal, and there's all these things. And maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some grains of truth to any of those kinds of theories. I'm not one to say, because mostly people come up with these things because we don't know, because there's no certainty, or we see one thing and then we extrapolate it out into a larger story, and we say, well, this is how it is, and everyone else, and the persecutor is like, well, if you don't believe this, then you're an idiot. And you see a lot of this going on right now, on social media in particular, which is why I can only do it in small bites and pieces. And then we see rescuing, which is like, I'm going to be a savior. I'm going to come in and I'm going to provide masks, and I'm going to provide respirators, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give money to everyone in the country, and whatever that looks like. And then those things don't work out as well, because, people don't fall into line or bow down and, go, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you rescued me. And I even saw this post today about, why isn't former President Obama like on this? How come he's not doing leadership and all these things? And we need him to come in and save. And people are looking for that white knight, or in this case, an African-American knight. And I don't mean to be offensive with that. It just struck me that probably wasn't the right thing to say. But when we get stuck on this drama triangle, right? The heart rate accelerates. We feel ourselves being triggered. We need to say something. We need to tell people what we think. This is a big signal that you're in that space, and it's fine to be angry, and it's fine to be scared, and it's fine to be apathetic, and it's even fine to want to help. None of these things by themselves are wrong or bad reactions to what's happening in our world right now. But let's talk a little bit about, okay, how do we recognize that we're on that drama triangle? And how do we get ourselves off? How do we move ourselves into a healthier place? So let's look at what the cards were that came up. And this one, kind of felt like the victim, right? Sort of depressed, apathetic, just kind of head against the wall going, oh, man, I can't believe all this is happening. What am I going to do? I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know what's going to happen. Is my stimulus check coming in yet? Like all these things. And I know I'm speaking more about what's happening in America, but I know that, there's some common themes that are going on in various countries around the world. And as I said, it's normal for us to have these kinds of reactions when we're in a situation we've never faced before, and we don't know how to deal with all that stress. And sometimes the best thing to do here is to say, what is one thing in my environment, in my home, what's one thing that I can actually do something about? Can I go in and can I wash the dishes? Can I take a shower today? Can I, snuggle with a pet or with one of my children? Or like, what is something I can do to help myself feel better, feel like I'm moving forward, feel like I'm creating my own life, right? So when we get in this apathetic, really depressed state, anxious state, everything's happening to us, we feel powerless. And we actually have more power than what we realize. So what is one thing, if you find yourself in this place, that you can actually take action on? It can be the smallest thing, right? It could be the smallest thing. You're like, I'm just going to pick up a book and I'm going to read a chapter. Whatever it is, I'm going to listen to a piece of music that uplifts me. It doesn't matter. It's just like, take one action that helps you to feel just a little bit more powerful than you did before. And then maybe in an hour or two, you can take one more action, or tomorrow you can take one more action. And this is how we move ourselves out of victim and into a powerful creator state, as we start to see where we actually can control our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own actions, our own reactions to everything that's happening now. So here's the victim state shifting into creator. And then this card came out, Two of Fire. Oof, look at those ladies. They are just like, look at that person. Look what they did. Look what they didn't do. I can't believe that this is what's going on right now. I am pissed off. I'm fiery. I'm telling everybody about it on social media. I need to find someone to blame for this because I feel like I have no power. Do you see like a common thread coming through here, right? It's like, the victim had no power, but the persecutor didn't any either, because they think it's all someone else outside of them. So when we get in this moment where we get angry, we could say to ourselves, yep, I'm angry about that. Yeah, that really made me upset. Yeah, I don't understand why this other person has this viewpoint. Yes, I really, really want to respond with some kind of snarky comment, or I really want to spread around, some kind of nasty thing about somebody else on social media. But you know what? At this moment, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make a different choice. I'm going to decide just to let it be. And I'm going to go within. And I'm going to ask myself, where might I be upset with me? Where am I giving away my power to everything that's going on externally? Where can I show up in a different way? If I want a world that's more compassionate, if I want a world that's more equitable, if I want a world that's more giving and loving and kind, how do I show up in that way? Because I can either show up in this really fiery, angry energy, or I could show up from a place of compassion. And sometimes that means we just stop. So the persecutor is out there, is active, is doing it, and the victim's like, I'm not going to do anything. And they almost need to switch roles, right? They need to switch roles, because the persecutor starts to recognize that they are part of both the problem and the solution, that there's an internal piece that they need to be working on, rather than looking at everybody else and telling everybody else what they need to do and how they need to believe. It's really about going within, right? And then we come into the rescuer energy. The rescuer's like, oh, people are hurting, people are dying. I need to fix it. I need to help. I need to do something. Look, I have the solution. Look, this particular herbal medicine is going to help everything, and it's going to change everything. I love herbal medicine, by the way. So I grew up with it. I drink, tea. I engage with supplements. Like, please don't get me wrong. But when we need to convince somebody else that this is the solution so that they stop hurting, most of the time, and this is where like empaths come in, for me, I spent a lot of years being a rescuer, because when other people were hurting, I could feel it inside of myself, like it was my own stuff. And I wanted them not to hurt. I also didn't want me to hurt either. And I had to learn how to hold space for other people to be in pain and suffering without making myself responsible for it. And a rescuer realizes, wow, instead of like trying to help someone else, I really need to help myself. I really need to kind of take a look and say, do I have my own stuff in order? Where am I feeling like I don't have power right now? Am I helping from a place of altruism, or am I helping from a place of trying to get my self-worth because somebody else did what I wanted them to do, or took the advice that I gave them, right? This is when we do a lot of like, people are out there venting, which are victims. Oh, like this happened to me and this thing, da 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 da. And the rescuer are all those 200 people on social media and Facebook that are like, get a crystal, do this, here's this, video you should watch. Those are all rescuers, right? That's coming from their own stuff. not because they actually want to help that person. If they want to actually help that person, they could say, what is it that you know? What do you have an innate knowing of? What power do you have within you to find this solution? I believe in you, right? There's a difference between being that rescuer and being a coach, right? Where we affirm that other people are strong and resilient, and that we're strong and resilient, and that we're going to kind of focus within and not needing to distract ourselves by trying to fix and help other people. So I hope this is helpful so far. The reading gets even better here, because what came out next is the heart of sky, right? And so when we begin to start to recognize that we are sitting in that drama triangle, right? We're in that triangle space and we're going around and around and we're playing one of the roles and then playing another role and playing another role. And we realize, what am I doing here? And this is where we pull back into that perspective and we go, you know, I recognize this is what's happening for other people, but I don't really want to engage with that, right? And the 2 and the 4 breaks down to a 6, which is balance and harmony. And that's coming within harmony to ourselves and coming back into our heart energy, right? Because when we're in the victim mode, we feel helpless. And that's really sort of the root chakra, right? It's the root chakra. It's like, man, I'm not even going to get my needs met. All this, I'm in danger. I'm in survival mode. And then when we come into the persecutor energy, you know, a lot of, let's go to the rescue energy because that's more the sacral chakra, more the feminine, right? Like, I want to nurture you, I want to rescue you, I want to take away all your pain. And this is our emotional center. And then we come up into the solar plexus and we're like, somebody's to blame and I need to point my finger. Right? These are the unrefined, the untrained, the sort of the lower nature of the lower chakras. The lower chakras can be expressed in a very high vibrational way, and they're meant to be. But when we get into the drama triangle, they often are in that lower vibration. And this is where we start to recognize it's time for me to come up and rise up into my heart and step back as if I'm in the sky and I can look down and I can see and notice what's happening and bring myself back into balance and harmony. And I just wanted to read a little bit of this interpretation. You may feel responsible for everything and everyone. Perhaps you think you have to do it all alone. This takes you into a dark hole where you lose trust in the natural order of the cosmos. Shed your lofty sense of duty and recognize this is a false prison of your own making. You can always open the door and set yourself free in an instant. So you are not stuck in that drama triangle. You can elevate yourself above, and you are a channel for the original energy of creation. Become the paintbrush, the canvas, the artist, all guided by the heart of sky. Set your intention and allow the universe to take care of the details, right? So this is about being a powerful manifester. This is about lifting up and holding that sacred space for all of the difficulties that we see in our world right now and all the deep emotions and all the challenges that others are going through, and say, I see you. I have compassion for you. I know that you're scared, and I know this is hard right now, and I understand because I'm going through it as well. But I'm going to come up into my heart energy. And I'm going to get out of that black hole. And I'm actually going to come into this place where I see myself as a powerful manifester. When we begin to do that, we come into the Queen of Air, right? Because so much of our reality is created by our thoughts, right? Thoughts are things. All is mind. There are many, many. God said, let there be light, and there was light. I mean, we have the ability through our thoughts, through our words, through our actions to create what we want. And are we going to create something that is in the drama triangle and creating more pain and more agony and more division and more separateness with our fellow human beings and our planet? Or are we going to come into this alignment, right? Look at all this activation here coming from higher self, going into the crown and into the third eye, listening to your knowing, getting quiet, tapping in to that owl wisdom right here at the throat. So, are we speaking out? Are we acting out? Are we thinking in a way that is affirming the reality that we want? We can look at it and we can say, I affirm that government is evil and everyone's out to get me, and or I need to rescue people, or I need to blame people. We can affirm that. I mean, that's a reality that you can choose, and you're going to live that reality. You are going to seek out people who also believe that. You are going to have things come across your social media feed and into your TV and into your existence that will support that particular viewpoint. Or you can say, what I really want is a world that looks more like this, right? And this is the card of faith. This is a letting go, right? Because when we feel powerless, like the first thing we try to do is take control somehow. So the victim takes control by getting attention from other people, by complaining, by venting, by acting helpless. We did this when we were kids. We learned how to do this when we were kids, right? Sometimes we were helpless when we were children and we needed someone's help, but we also learned how to work it, and when we get into that victim energy, I'm not talking about when we just come out of victimization of someone else's behavior and we're in that pain and we're still in that trauma state and we're doing that. But often we can put ourselves back into that state because it feels familiar, right? And we get attention, and there's some kind of payoff that we're getting from that. And here, we're not asking for that attention at all. There's nothing victim about this. We have faith that we are strong, that we are resilient, that we can create our own reality, that even if there are these things that are surrounding us and it feels like all this stuff is coming in right now, we can see that things are beginning to bloom and blossom, and we can transmute all of that into a deeper sense of peace. So really, we take all of that, we take the persecutor and the victim and the rescuer, and we go from the heart energy. I don't know if you can see, but she has a lot of activation here at the heart. And we transmute that into a sense of peace and calm and faith. That if we choose our thoughts, if we choose our actions, if we choose our words, we can actually bring about more peace, even in the midst of all of this. And even if that peace is only within you, even if you can't change it all out there, even if that peace is only within you, what's happening is your vibration is resonating. And as more people come into that peaceful state, and believe me, what I say is, like, at this time, it takes really concerted effort on a daily basis to bring yourself back into that peace state. And there may be some times when you go back into the drama triangle and you're like, oops, I got over there again, crap. Okay, and I'm going to pull myself back and get back into this state. And I'm going to pull myself back, I'm going to pull myself back until that state of faith, of alignment, becomes your standard way of being instead of drama, right? It's like reprogramming, rewiring everything, rewiring your nervous system, rewiring your brain and the connections that you've been making. And if you grew up in a family system, for example, where there was a lot of trauma, or you had that happen to you at various times during adulthood, it takes some practice for sure to rewire your brain. You can rewire that through meditation, through walking in nature, through taking hot baths, through dance, through playing music, through drawing, through writing. There's a lot of ways that you can do this, using divination tools like tarot and oracle. Whatever works for you to help you get out of the drama and into that grounded and centered place, coming back in, over and over and over again. And it develops a habit, it develops neural pathways. It becomes your norm, more so than the drama. Doesn't mean that in times of very, very high stress, even if you've been working on this for a long time. You know, I've been meditating for 7 years now. And, you know, I'll be honest, I'm struggling many days to stay and to get myself back into that space. But as soon as you realize, okay, I'm off here in the drama, ooh, I'm realigning my ship for true north, coming back over and over and over. So my friends, I hope this was helpful for you to understand the different roles of the drama triangle, to be able to look out in the world and see that, oh, you know, this person that's blaming everyone, okay, well, they got into that persecutor mode. And that's natural because someone feels powerless. So sometimes they want to fight. And, you know, the victim, you know, sometimes that's a natural stress reaction that we get into, or we feel apathetic, or we want attention for, you know, feeling bad. And we need that inner child part of ourselves to be nurtured by someone. And so we look at the ways that we can get that done, or being the rescuer because, you know, we were always that person in the family, or for example, that tried to fix everything. And then how do we like start to understand that, oh, people are just having a reaction to stress and to a very intense collective level of stress and individual stress right now when there's so much uncertainty. And then we come into a compassionate place. We realign our mind. We realize, okay, I got into that, you know, dark space temporarily. And now I'm going to realign myself. I'm going to tap into my higher wisdom. I'm going to get quiet. I'm going to get into my heart space. I'm going to transmute that energy from within me and resonate out what presence that I want to bring right now. And we just do it every day or every hour or every 5 minutes if that's what you need. You've got this. You've got this. And so I invite you right now to just take care of yourself. Just do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. And in the future, if there's a time when you are ready to step in, to master your gifts, to explore your life purpose, to really set off on a more meaningful path for yourself, there is information below on how to schedule a life purpose coaching session with me. We can just start with one and see if we vibe, and I can get you some practical tips and tools that you can apply in your life right away, and then see if there's some further work that we might want to do. I'm also the co-founder of 1millionempaths.com, which is a beautiful online global sanctuary for empaths and light workers and conscious leaders to come in and be nurtured, to refill your tanks before you go back out there and you shine your light. It's a great place to come back in and realign your mental and your heart and your belly and your body and be nurtured. So I'd love to have you join me. And thank you so much. Hit like and subscribe so I can please grow this channel. I appreciate you being here, your time, your bright, gorgeous, loving, compassionate, empathic light shining out there in the world. Thank you for being you. Namaste.